I broke my back.
What do you mean by that? You broke?
My back is broken.
What, a vertebrae or what portion?
Spinal.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
A big shout out to everybody in Riverside. And as a kid, I always wanted to meet Don King. But now I think Don King's a fucking asshole. He's a racist.
No. We're not going down that road.
None bigger than this. Maybe the biggest upset of this decade.
En ese estilo es un fuck you, dile, porque él puede quedar bien con la pelea.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mr. Boxing Guru podcast. It is me, Sal, Mr. Boxing Guru. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I promised, I said I was going to try to do this more often than I did before, and I'm trying. I'm even doing this on a Friday night, on a Sunday night, I'm sorry. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys fresh content for the rest of your week. So again, thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys have not signed into my YouTube channel, make sure you guys do that. Again, it's Mr. Boxing Guru. We do this on Spreaker, on Spotify, on, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are listened to. Quick thing. If you guys bought a shirt for me, it will be shipped on Tuesday. I am picking the shirts up tomorrow, so again, the Boxing and Chill shirt will be shipped out. We are getting a new load on the first or the second day of the month, so that's June. So again, the Black Boxing and Chill shirts will be available. But again, enough of that. Let's get to talking about this weekend's fights. This weekend was packed, man. It was good if you like to watch the fights at home. It wasn't that great if you actually like to go to the fights. You had to pick and choose which card you went to. We had Golden Boy had a card. We had Thriller. Thriller had a card, and then we have PBC. So all Golden Boys, children, promoter children actually had a card. So it's kind of neat. You see these guys, they all started with Golden Boy, and all of a sudden they lead to bigger and better things. So that's kind of cool that Golden Boy is starting to be that company, because sort of like Top Rank was at one point. Golden Boy was the new company at one point. He was doing everything. It was innovative and whatnot. Now they're kind of, of course, slowing down, working at their own pace. But yeah, that's that. But let's talk about the main event, the fight that everybody wanted to watch, which was Charlo versus Castano. And again, we saw Charlo defeat Castano. And again, this fight was good, and we have to keep the same fucking energy, guys. This guy was good because it was a unification fight for all the four belts. This is 4-belt era. Whenever you have a chance or you have the ability to unify all the belts at one division, it's something special, and that's definitely something special that Charlo did. Castano was a good fighter. Again, a rough fighter. We all know, those Argentinian fighters are hard-nosed fighters, pack a big punch, don't necessarily know how well they take it. But, again, hard-nosed guy. The first fight, it was a bit of a tight fight. I had Charlo winning the first fight too. This one, it seems like Castano was doing a little better, but again, nonetheless, Charlo won. He was actually able to stop his guy, and good for him. He seems to be, he is the fucking man. 154-pound Charlo is the fucking man. 160 Charlo hasn't proven himself as much as he should. One thing that I do see on social media, because look, man, sometimes it feels like we can't have anything nice. Social media was quick to judge or quick to try to compare shit, especially, and this happens a lot from the PBC fan base, which is good. Look, man, we just had something great. We had Charlo actually become a unified champion. We had a few weeks ago. We had Canelo get dethroned. Again, that's something that we didn't necessarily expect. It happened. Fuck it, it happened. It doesn't fucking matter if he's Mexican or not. He got dethroned. That means we got to fight. We had an unpredictable fight. That's fucking amazing. Before that, we had Errol Spence. Again, great fight. Again, these are fucking great things. But you don't have to knock a fighter to make another one feel greater. The first thing I saw was like, oh, this is better than Canelo's run. This is better than this. This is better than that. Is it really? Like, again, just be happy for fucking Charlo. This guy fucking became a undisputed, I'm sorry, I keep saying unified. I apologize for that. Undisputed champion at 154. That means he actually, everybody that's at 154, he has the fucking belt. So anybody that wants to even remotely think about being a champion, they have to go through him. He beat everybody to get all these fucking belts. This is a fucking great thing. It doesn't mean you have to ruin it or he has to be better at doing it than Canelo or any other fighter for that matter. This is fucking just great. Plain and simple. It's fucking great for Charlo, and that's it. That's it. But if you want to be technical, I mean, who did Castano beat? Fucking Teixeira. Teixeira looks like he fucking touch him and he fucking falls. Let's be honest with you. Teixeira wasn't much of a fucking champ to begin with. And this is, I mean, I like Teixeira. He's a good kid, but I mean, he is what he fucking is. He's not that fucking great. I mean, it's sort of like when Paulie Malignaggi had those runs at 140, 147. He was just a guy that had a belt, but that was easy to beat, so he became an easy target. That's exactly what they did with Castano and Teixeira. So, again, I don't mean to be the asshole that kind of, talk shit here, but you guys are talking so much shit about Canelo doing this, Canelo doing that. Again, who did fucking Castano beat again? How many defenses did Castano really have? He won the belt and they threw him against the Lion right away. Again, let's not take anything away from Jamal. Just be happy for fucking Charlie. He's a undisputed champion at 154. We should get more fights like that where we eliminate absolutely everybody from a fucking division. That's to me, that's fucking beautiful. Now, what's next for Charlo? You got Tisu's son. Who else is out there? There's that long fucking kid that fucking looks like Slender Man, the Cuban Mexican American kid. There's so much shit out there for him. There's that eventual move to 160. Because let's be honest, the Charlo bros are fucking huge. For 154, I have no idea how he's making 154 pounds, but I know he's got to be, ripping at the seams, and especially with all these guys now moving up to 154, or eventually like Errol Spence. I think he has like maybe 2 fights left at 47. He's a big dude too, so he's eventually going to move up. I mean, there's really not much to do. Well, this is it. There's nothing else to do at 54. Again, you got all these monsters, but that he took care of them all. Again, and the only thing to do is wait for these guys from 47 to move over to 54. But I don't think anybody's gonna be quick to do that. The only one that I see remotely even thinking about doing that is Terrence Crawford going up to 54 to fight him. Again, and that's only if he goes through Spence, and that's pretty fucking tough to fucking happen. So let's hope it happens, man. Look, it's time like these that where you're pretty happy to be a boxing fan. I'm super fucking content on the fights that have been going on. Again, Thriller had a card too with Kovalev. It is what it is. Kovalev at a 199 pound limit. It's interesting. Nothing that I care to see anymore. Kovalev is obviously past his prime. I'm not going to say it. Especially something about the word cruiserweight is just, I don't know. I don't like the division. I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I want to move on. You had what they keep saying, dynasty. I don't even know if Fernando Vargas knows what the fuck dynasty means. He probably thinks it's like Duck Dynasty or some shit because I don't know. And guys, stop interviewing Fernando Vargas. It's just getting fucking annoying. I don't understand what the fuck Fernando Vargas is saying half the time. Stop interviewing him. And if you're going to interview him, please bring a fucking translator because I don't know what the fuck he's speaking. He's speaking, he's speaking 805 Ebonics, if he's speaking English, Spanish. I think the only one that could translate is Robert Garcia's dad. He's probably the only one that understands what this Ninja Turtle looking motherfucker says. So, but nonetheless, the kids look good. The older one is kind of, you know, what is he, like 30? Fernando Vargas Jr. So I wish him well because I really want him to do good. Look, obviously Fernando was a hell of a fucking champion, but and I won. Usually, you don't see the junior be as good, and you know, shout out to Chavez Jr. He's the proof there. But I don't think we're gonna get to see anything special from Fernando Vargas Jr. I think the what is this, the last one he has, and the Amado kid. I'm not sure if it's the same one, but one of the little curly headed fucks. They're fucking legit. He's a legit fighter, the youngest one. I've seen him in the amateur, some of the amateur fights he had. He's a legit guy. I think he's definitely a world beater eventually, if of course they move him right. I think the folks over there at Golden Boy 2.0 at Thriller should do fine handling him. I don't know what's up with their matchmakers. I don't know. I know a Thriller took like half the Golden Boy staff with them. So I'm assuming, you know, their background is pretty good on moving fighters. I know Golden Boy always did a great job doing that, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the kids are good. I'm expecting that, you know, Fernando, knowing what he knows, doing, you know, what he did as far as a pro and the mistakes that he did, being such a great pro, but taking fights that he shouldn't, he'll be a bit more delicate with his kids. But I guess time will tell. We will see what happens. I'm really looking forward to seeing, again, at least the last two, not Junior, a fight. But hey, hopefully I'm wrong. You know, it's just not that fan of little swag boys. But again, Hope they do good. In the other card, again, there was Zurdo Ramirez. Zurdo Ramirez is and this is interesting, and I'm going to take it back a little. I guess I'm going to get a little deeper with this. Again, like I mentioned in the beginning, Golden Boy and what I say the kids' company, his kids' companies had fights. All of them were in L.A. The firstborn was, of course, PBC. PBC was part of Golden Boy at one point before they became, you know, officially PBC. You know, a lot of those PBC fighters, especially the older ones, the ones that are in the back nine, they were, you know, Golden Boy fighters. We're talking about the Wilders, the Errol Spences, the Thurmans, Garcias, and whatnot. So it's nice to see them. Again, they came and they brought fighters that were, you know, not from LA, and hosted a fight and shit, and people went, because that's the type of town that Southern California is. That's the type of place that Southern California is. I'm sorry. I mean, we don't really want to get bullshitted with bad fights. We just want to see good fights. Half that crowd was given a free ticket. It's okay. They put asses in seats. They're creating a decent fan base. The other crowd was people that came from the LA Galaxy game that was on at the same time. So let's not, you know, boast a bit too much. But again, the card to watch was the PBC card. Again, that's the first child. That's the first Golden Boy child. The second Golden Boy child is Thriller to a certain extent, because they, like I said, some of the higher ups from Thriller now were part of Golden Boy, so they're taking in their way of doing business, and they had their fight in the Forum. Now, what I didn't like, I guess, and what I didn't understand, and because this was very convenient for me, because Golden Boy being the LA company, it seems like they got ran out of Southern California or LA, local LA area, which is, again, the Carson, which is the War Grounds, and Inglewood, which they hosted many fights there before as well, especially after it got renovated. Now they ended up in fucking Ontario, which is fucking, 40, 50 miles away from LA. It's pretty much next to my house. The fight was, again, about maybe 5 miles away from my house. Sit and go. Because, for what? To watch Zurdo? And don't get me wrong, Zurdo's not a bad fighter. I think he's a really good fighter. It just, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't really want to watch Zurdo. I don't want to watch Zurdo in a exhibition type of fight. What I mean by that, the guy that Zurdo fought, I already fucking forgot his name. He was that type of fighter that belongs in a matchroom undercard, maybe being the second or third slot from the fucking beginning of the card. Wasn't a good fighter. German fighter, very basic. Zurdo pretty much toyed with him. This was so fucking predictable. So that's not the type of fight I want to see from Zurdo. I get it if Golden Boy wants to build them in their time. That's fine, but don't wonder when again you're pushing the fucking fan base away because you want to do developmental fights on a fighter that's fucking has 40 fucking fights. Zurdo is the type of guy that you want to get him. You got a horse from fucking top rank. He's ready to go to the finish line. He's ready to go to the championship rounds. Let him fucking fight good fights. I mean, this is it. You know, after the performance that I saw from Zurdo, I can't say who he beats. I can't compare him or base his performance on anything because it was 3 fucking rounds and it were 3 basic rounds where he just kind of again toyed him. Zurdo walked in at 200 pounds. There was no way this kid was gonna do anything, absolutely nothing to Zurdo. So yes, I watched the fight because I'm a fucking degenerate bastard. But I mean, there was nothing there, nothing special from Zurdo. The best thing about that card was trying to watch Camarón. And I was gonna say Camarón Ramirez, but no, that's not it. Camarón, the kid, that kid that Golden Boy has, the one that beat Tanajara. And he was the co-main event for this fight. But even that kid, he doesn't, create the type of buzz that will make people want to leave their homes to go to these type of fights. I really want to cheer for Golden, but I really do cheer for Golden because I want to see him do good. At the end of the day, you want to see people that look like you do great, sort of like the guys at PBC. Sort of like you with anybody else, but I mean, it's kind of hard. It's tough for me to fucking continue to watch stuff from Golden Boy when they're not giving it their all. I honestly I don't know what happened to have the fucking stable that they had. The Golden Boy had such an extensive stable. Seems like. I mean, fuck, I don't see them anymore. I don't know who's fighting anymore. I don't know when I hear about Thursday night fights on Thursday night, So it's difficult. From what I'm seeing, though, I mean, it seems like they're putting asses in seats. So, I mean, good for them. But just not doing it for me anymore. And I really, really hope that changes around because I'm a big, big fan of Golden Boy. Like I said, I used to love their developmental process. It somehow went down the drain. But I really, really hope that they get their shit together, man, because they sure knew how to develop a fighter. Back to news and notes. Let's see what else do we and I am gonna answer some of you folks' questions because I know some of you guys have some questions. So we're gonna make sure we get those answered for you. The Mayweather fight fell off of the helicopter fight. That was another card we were supposed to have. Apparently, Floyd Mayweather's fighting one of the guys that sweeps the fucking gym, and that didn't happen. And by people I mean the 3 people that I follow that fucking like to shoulder roll and wear TMT hats. They were so fucking happy because it was in a helipad. I don't see how that was exciting for them. It's great for Floyd, but I don't see what the fuck is going on here. Again, I'm assuming this was another exhibition fight. It got postponed. It got moved. It was an exhibition fight. Because the UAE president died or some shit like that. Whoever that was, descansa en paz, rest in peace. I think it was a Sheikh Khalifa. I don't know, maybe it's a never mind. Yeah, but apparently it's coming back and whatnot. So, kudos to Floyd for continuing to do these type of events for himself, because we've all seen all the fighters that half of them fucking stay halfway retarded and can't speak. The other half end up broke, and Floyd's been able to milk about his persona into getting millions of dollars. Again, now I've never been a big fan of Floyd, more than anything because of his style. But again, it's worked for him, so you got to respect that. Not so much as a boxer, but because of his hustle. It's fucking great, fucking amazing. So do you, Floyd? Get your fucking shoulder rolling money on. And again, like I said, I just read somewhere on Instagram that the fight might be on. One fighter that I am gonna kind of miss is fucking Amir Khan. Amir Khan actually announced his retirement, and this came after his fucking nemesis announced his retirement again. And by nemesis, I mean Kell Brook. So Kell Brook announced his retirement, and again, that's the fight that the UK always wanted to see in their 147-pound fighters. And Amir Khan, Kell Brook announced his retirement, I think, about a week ago. No, not a week ago. I'm sorry, about a week ago. And so now Amir Khan does the same. And you know what? Amir Khan is one of those fighters that and the UK started building these fighters. Yeah, I always talk a lot of shit about UK fighters, but it's almost seems like it's a little different for them. They want to build that legacy. They want to be great. They want to fight the fights. Remember, Amir Khan, was an silver medalist for the UK. So that was fucking awesome. And Amir Khan came in and he was just fucking fun to watch. Amir Khan looked like his hands were not in sync with his feet. So he almost threw punches off balance, but he fucking more than anything, he believed in himself. He went in there thinking that he could beat motherfuckers, and shit, he fucking did. He beat a lot of fucking good fighters, and that was the special thing about Amir Khan. Where yes, he had superior hand speed, but it almost felt like he didn't know what to do with it. It almost seemed like something was itching in his hand. He was just quick to fucking throw it off of it, and that was the great thing about Amir Khan. Look, Amir Khan, I think started at 135 or some shit. I remember first fight. He lost, and it was crazy. I think it was in the first round too. It was versus Bradis Prescott. Went in there. Bradis Prescott was fresh too. I think he was an undefeated fighter, just strong fucking kid. And the fight comes, and he knocks the fuck out of Amir Khan. Amir Khan is there, fucking halfway asleep. And that's the thing about Amir Khan. Like I said, he threw punches like a motherfucker. And he went to sleep like a motherfucker. He had the best knockout charisma, not knocking out, knocked out charisma, because he would look just fucking drunk out of his fucking mind. His legs got legit spaghetti. He started moving sort of a la Zab Judah all over the fucking ring. And it was just fucking hilarious to see. He literally went to fucking sleep a bunch of fucking times. So that was fun. So again, he went through Bradis Prescott. Then of course he got back up. He started winning fights. At some point, he fought little ass Marco Antonio Barrera too at 135. Again, Marco Antonio Barrera was fucking old at that point. It was in 2010, 2009, some shit like that. He went back. Oh, one of my favorite early memories of Amir Khan was when there was this video that Ellie Setback, and look, man, I know I give Ellie a lot of shit, but I like what he's done for boxing. He asks a lot of dumb questions, but fuck, does he make me look smart. Ellie Setback did a video on Demetrius Salita saying how he was the most avoided fighter. He could, beat the likes of Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Why don't they fight him? Demetrius Salita was 30-0. Why isn't everybody fighting him? So there goes Demetrius Salita. And the reason why Ellie was promoting him so much, one, because he was, Jew, which made sense. You got to cheer for your own folks. Two, Ellie is just a dumbass. And I'm sure he didn't know boxing at the time, and he still doesn't, but even less than. So the fucking fight happened in the Jew versus the Muslims fight. And boom, boom, boom. First round and it's fucking over. Amir Khan's beat the shit out of fucking Demetrius Salita, and he goes on to win. After that, I think he came on, and that's when HBO was real strong. And of course, once you used to get a powerhouse like HBO backing you up, they're gonna get you that they're gonna try to get you a belt, or they're gonna get you in the right fight. So they got him the Malignaggi, which was the easiest fight to make, because we all knew the easiest route to a belt, at least at 140 pounds, and that's where Amir Khan was. I'm sorry, that's where Paulie Malignaggi was at that point. So he fights Paulie Malignaggi. One, at that point, after the Brady Prescott fight, I think most people know that how chinny Amir was. So fighting a guy like Paulie Malignaggi, I think a lot of people were like, "Fuck it, let's this is the easiest way to a belt, so let's go after him." So boom, he did. It was fun while it lasted, and Paulie Malignaggi, Amir Khan gets his belt and becomes a junior welterweight champion. After that, the crazy motherfucker goes and fights the guy that beat the shit out of Victor Ortiz. And this was Marcos Maidana. Remember, Marcos Maidana was not supposed to be here, but Marcos Maidana beat Victor Ortiz. So, because he beat Victor Ortiz, that means Amir Khan didn't get Victor Ortiz. He actually got the winner of that, which is fucking great. And again, we're talking about Maidana. We're talking about back in 2010. This is 12 years ago. Marcos Maidana was an absolute fucking monster, and that's just the type of fighter that Amir Khan was. He was the house guy, he was the popular guy, but he was also that fucking guy that wanted to fucking smoke. So you had to give credit to this guy. So he goes and fights Maidana. Maidana, I think he hurts Maidana in the first rounds with a body shot. You see Maidana rolling on the ground. Maidana makes it up. He gives Amir Khan hell. Amir Khan does his classic chicken leg all over the ring. Where he's fucking half asleep. His legs it looks like he has a Charlie horse mixed with fucking just tingly legs, and he's all over the fucking ring. But he somehow survived. I don't know how the hell. If there was one fight where Amir Khan needed to get his ass knocked out, was by Marcos Maidana, and he did it, and he lived to talk about it. After that, he had a couple of fights. He had Zab Judah. Of course, he beat Zab Judah. I think he knocked him out 5 rounds or something like that, and whatnot. And then came the big fight. This fight was actually, Amir Khan was a favorite. They gave him this first PBC. It wasn't PBC yet, but it was his first PBC-ish kind of fighter, and Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia was relatively unknown. But he took the fight versus Amir Khan. This is when we first saw Danny Garcia do the eyes closed left hook, and that's when he again Amir Khan went to fucking sleep, and that's all she wrote for Amir Khan. I think he got stopped 4 or 5 rounds in. This other fight was very memorable. And again, remember Amir Khan, all of his bigger fights were actually here in the U.S. So it was, again, kind of special because I got to see him as an American fighter. His other fight that I really remember, and I remember it was after the Danny Garcia fight, was versus Carlos Molina. And I still, I really like Carlos Molina. I really love Carlos Molina's fan base. And he actually, and again, the reason why they picked a guy like Carlos Molina was Carlos Molina didn't have much pop. Beautiful fighter. Everything was done right by Carlos Molina. The fundamentals were there, but the power was never there. And I believe, who was his manager? Who was Molina's manager? I'm thinking about the face, but I can't remember. Again, anyways, I'll come back to that. Espinosa boxing. Frank and Frankie Espinosa were his manager. So this fight actually happened, and in the sports arena now, it's what is it now? I don't know. It got demolished. I believe that's where the new Bank of California stadium is at. Again, don't quote me on that, but I remember It was about to get fucking dropped at that time, and this is what, like, sometime back in 2012 or some shit like that. But so that fight happened again, and that's the beautiful thing about the Brits. The Brits travel in fucking packs, so they have. And again, I remember the fight. I remember, Amir Khan beating Carlos Molina. But what I remember specifically were the fan bases. And this is where I now I'm feeling crazy because I don't go to as much fights as I used to. I remember being in the stands and you hear those soccer-like chants, and they were for Amir Khan. And, saying, yeah, my guy won, all that, mate. All that shit was, again, going wild. Everybody was cheering for Amir. And especially when he won, the fan base, his fan base were fucking just going crazy, loving every minute of it. But what they didn't fucking know is that Carlos Molina has a bunch of fucking Norwalk Cholo homies. And the beauty about that is that, well, not the beauty about the fucked up thing about that, it seemed like a fucking Fools Gone Wild reunion. And everybody was pissed off because at the end of the day, they beat your fucking guy. And on top of that, not only did they beat Carlos, they're fucking chanting and fucking screaming at you walking down the hallway. And next thing you know, these guys are fucking screaming their fucking Winter Wonderland or whatever the fuck they're fucking screaming, those guys from the UK. And I guess one of them bumps into a little fucking Cholo for Norwalk, and they look at each other sideways, and yeah, they're just fucking screaming, and one of them are all happy because Amir Khan lost, and all of a sudden we hear poo 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 poo, and sas, they knock out these big ass Brits, and we're talking about like a fucking 4'12" fucking Cholito, just like a little dude, and that escalates to another, and then that escalates to another fight, and again, I'm using the word fight loosely, ass whooping. These motherfuckers are just whipping people's ass, and I was like, whoa, I don't fucking fuck with nobody. I have my wife with me on. Like, let's get the fuck out of here. But it was a fucking fun card, fun fight. I think it was so many fucking fights that day. I think there was like a fucking marathon of fights that day. But again, the ones from the stands were even fucking better because they were just, it was just fucking incredible. Again, sorry I got a little long-winded there, but again, I guess what I'm trying to say is that Amir Khan fought everybody, and then Collazo, he fought Devin Alexander, Chris Algieri. He fucking fought Canelo Alvarez at 155. Again, this is a guy that campaigned at 135, then got a belt at 140, then he went to 147, and then he decided to say, fuck that, I'm going to go fucking fight Canelo. And not only am I going to fight Canelo, but I'm going to fight for his 160 belts, 60-pound belts that, of course, Canelo was the king of that 155-pound catch weight. So he did that. He got fucking knocked out so fucking bad, and this was what, like 2016, I believe. Knocked out so bad. We're used to Amir Khan going to sleep. We were expecting Amir Khan to go to sleep. As a matter of fact, that's why Amir Khan was picked, because we know he was going to be a great highlight reel. That's the thing you get with Amir Khan, and especially going up with such a fucking physically strong guy in Canelo. Canelo's not big of stature, but he is a fucking little fucking Hulk. So he goes and beats and gets knocked the fuck out like in the 6th or 7th round, and boom, it was just, that's when you kind of got a little disgusted the way they were picking Canelo's fights, because they were fighting much smaller guys and guys that were very chinny like that to make him look good. And yeah, but again, that just goes back to Amir Khan's character. He didn't give a fuck. He was going to try to fuck you up. As a matter of fact, he was winning some of those earlier rounds with Canelo. Yeah, he was stalking Canelo, but at the end of the day, it wasn't good enough, because I think everybody knew what was eventually going to happen. That was him getting knocked. I mean, if everybody else knocked him out, why not Canelo, right? He went and fought, a couple of fights, like weird fighters like Phil Greco, God bless his soul, Terrence fucking Crawford. And this is the first time that when he fought Terrence Crawford, that's when I saw, like, okay, you know what, this is almost the beginning of the end. Because yeah, I get it, Terrence Crawford's a fucking special guy, but in my opinion, Terrence Crawford made him quit, and that's something that was never in Amir Khan. So I said, okay, this is, I think this is it for him. This is, once you see a fighter quit, you have to, raise an eyebrow, the Rock style, and think, okay, maybe this is this is it. Of course, he had like an exhibition type of fight with Billy Dib, and at the end, his fight with Kell Brook, which again, and that was a great fight for Kell Brook because obviously they were both past their prime, but he always lived in that Khan shadow, and he was able to finally say, you know what, I beat this fucking guy, and he ended up stopping him in 6 rounds, which was special. Especially the only intriguing part about that was that now he was part of the Bud Crawford's a team, and he was being trained by Bomac. So that was something else that they were trying to bring to the table. But again, Amir Khan was Amir Khan. A lot of nervous energy, a lot of fucking wild punches with his legs not underneath him, and that was that. But hey, to Amir Khan, every time a good fighter, and again, a good fighter to me isn't somebody that had an undefeated record or made millions of dollars. I don't care about your pocket. I care about the type of memories that you just that you gave me. Like, for example, I just kind of gave you guys a breakdown of Amir Khan's, not so much of his stats or this and that and his belts. I don't give a fuck about that. About the type of memories that a fighter gives you. And Amir Khan was that fighter. He gave you memories. He gave me personally memories. A lot of you guys remember when he got knocked out in certain fights. A lot of you guys remember how great fights like him versus Marcos Maidana, resonate in your head. You remember shit like that. Fighters that you remember. There's a lot of undefeated fighters, a lot of Floyd fights that you don't fucking remember. You don't fucking really necessarily care for because they were that uneventful. Amir Khan had a shitload of fights, and for that, you gotta salute the guy. All right, guys, let's talk about what we have coming up in the next couple of fights. Let me go to ESPN because that's where I get most of my info besides the Coppinger articles. But let's see what's on the schedule. Let's see, what do we have? Key dates. Let's see, May 14. We got Ontario. We got that week. So let's see, what do we have? Actually, so we have from Las Vegas on ESPN on May 21st. Let's see. We got Jamel Herring. We got Adidas boxer Jamel Herring actually fighting this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. Look, man, Jamel obviously lost his belt to a great fighter in his last fight, and now he's it's time for him to put work. So he's got to redeem himself, either come back with at a higher weight, and he's the type of fighter that you want to see do well. Jamel's one of those dudes that I don't think it's very easy to like him, and you got to be a real piece of shit almost not to like him as a persona. Forget boxing, as a person, Jamel's one of the nicest guys out there. So you wish him well. I think he's gonna do great. I think he still has a few fights in him, so I'm really looking forward to that. Same date on Showtime from Phoenix, we have David Benavidez fighting David Lemieux. David versus the vacant interim super middleweight title. Look at that shit. So here's the thing. David Benavidez is obviously a special fighter. I think most of us, that's the fight that we wanted for Canelo. It's 168 pounds. He obviously is a guy that shrinks himself into 168, but is a 175 pound fighter easy. He could have been that guy that fought Canelo, but he fucking threw away his fucking belts. Nonetheless, he's one of those fighters that needs to get rid of a guy like David Lemieux and make it a highlight reel. David Lemieux was a great fit. I want to say, great 154 pounder, great 160 pounder. Didn't do much work there. His biggest highlights were losing to Golovkin and also losing to Billy Joe Saunders, which is a fucking atrocious fight, because Billy Joe Saunders was always a horrible fighter to watch, at least. So David Benavidez needs to make a statement. One thing about David Lemieux, that motherfucker could crack. So please don't try to stand there and trade with David Lemieux, because he will put fucking paws on you. Let's see. Other than that, we got fights on the zone, but those are Brit fights. So I don't think many people are that interested in them. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. We got Tevin Farmer versus Mickey Bay from Otra, Ghana. So, hope you guys are gonna watch that. Boom, boom. Stupid that joke. But let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. It looks like the Floyd fight is getting pushed back somewhere in between. So, of course, next week we'll talk about whatever happened this week. And of course the Gervonta Davis preview for next week. For now, let me take a look at, I know some of you guys had some questions. Let me see if they're worth answering. If not, I'm just fucking go to sleep. Let's see. What do we have here? Let me see. I'll tell you guys in a fucking bit. I'm sorry. Let's see. Garcia Recording asks thoughts on Tank and Rolly. Look, Tank is it's obviously the guy that's gonna win. You gotta when some fighters are losing a few chromosomes like Rolly is, you have to almost be concerned. I think Tank is just gonna pick his ass apart and knock him out in like 4 or 5 rounds, because I don't see Tank throwing a shot and not hitting a Rolly. But I think that somehow, I don't know if Rolly is just psyching himself out to the point where he really does think that he could beat him. But if he does, again, good for him. If somebody believes in you, it's great. It's you. So it seems like he's a firm believer in what he can do, or he's just fucking psyching himself out. So really hope that's that. Let's see. Treasure of Darkness asks again a Rolly question: can Rolly, Little Peanut Head, take the power of? I'm sorry. Let me read that again because I'm a little dyslexic. Can Rolly's Little Peanut Head take the power that Tank has? I don't. We never really seen Rolly hurt, but I don't think so. Rolly, Tank is, in my opinion, one of the best guys that should be at 130. But that's at 135. But he's definitely has the goods. Let's see. G Unit Twins Garcia, and that's his dad asking for them. Vargas Dynasty, what do you think about the event from last night? Again, I watched the fights. I know there was some fucking show or something going on in the background. I didn't really pay much attention to it. Honestly, I didn't pay much attention to the fights. I was interested in the Vargas kids to see how they did. They're obviously doing good. It's a matter of good matchmaking, in particular for the older one, because again, I do believe that's the most flawed one. But the younger two, I think they're special kids, and they're there to go places. So hopefully they continue their great work. And Fernando, again, you have to give Fernando credit. I know, and I'm one to be quick on giving people shit, but I also like to give people their credit. Fernando deserves a lot of credit. He seems like he raised 3 great kids. I know, again, Junior had a little trouble first, I guess in the beginning, some shit that's not really really shouldn't be talked about. But again, he raised 3 great kids, and you got to give credit to that, and Fernando as a trainer, I mean, he's doing something good, and he gets to do that shit with his kids. That's fucking amazing. All right, guys, that's it. That's all the questions I'm asked. I don't want to answer any of the other ones. They're a little odd. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you guys waited all the way to the end, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave your comments on Instagram. Please don't forget to leave a quick review. And again, thank you so much, and see you on the next one. Adios.